Well, welcome to the show. I'm Brendan.
I'm Corey, and this is Our View from the Bench.
Welcome back, Benchwarmers. We've got some NBA news we'd like to discuss today.
The playoffs have been fun so far, but there's some storylines across the association we wanted to cover.
So lace them up and let's hit that hardwood. I'm Brendan. Josh Hart's missing rest time.
And I'm Corey, a lengthy last 2-minute report, and this is Our View from the Bench.
Before we get started, if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss any one of our new episodes.
Also, if you could please do us the favor, if you like what you see or hear, please don't forget to smash that like button.
Smash it for us. It's free. Free for you. It's free for us, and it helps us out a lot more than you probably think. All right, man. NBA, Bell. It's what are we? Second round now. Second round of the NBA playoffs. And I'd like to just sit here and talk about the playoffs, but I'll be honest with you, they've been a little cloudy. Let me put it that way. There's a lot of storylines. The biggest one is actually around the officiating. I feel like officiating is a problem in all sports. But I feel like with basketball, because it's just here and there and now, and there's no stopping, like on plays with football or baseball, it makes it a little bit harder. But still, man, this is a little bit out of control.
Yeah, it's been a lot. Every game, there's one coach complaining about we didn't get enough free throw attempts compared to the other. I mean, the famous one so far is this Indiana New York after the first two games. Carlisle said they're going to send video to the league and examples. And turns out they sent 78 different plays that they thought a call should have been for them or shouldn't have been against them. And like 78 in 2 games, that's 39 a game, bro. That's like a whole quarter's worth of just plays.
If not more, right?
Yeah, I don't know what the average amount of plays in a quarter is, but if you're playing 12 minutes, there's got to be at least 20, 30 plays for each team going up and down the court. And to have 79 things that you, or 78 that you submit to like have a look at, I think we're focusing on the wrong part. And Carlisle also made like small market, big market, which, you know, I know there's always that like thought or theory, but come on, man. And like you said, it's not easy. I get it to ref in the NBA because you run up and down, but also maybe add a fourth ref on the court instead of having three. I don't know. It's just an idea I've always thought about.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it can't hurt to have more eyes on the subject, right? I mean, to answer your quick question about plays, though, so possessions per game. Now, granted, there could be multiple plays in a possession. The team with the most amount of possessions in a game last year, this past season, were the Washington Wizards. Now, maybe that's because they're constantly letting the people score, so they get a possession quickly again. But yeah, 106 is the number of possessions per game. So let's just call those plays. That means they submitted, if there's 200 plays per team, they submitted damn near a quarter of the plays that could have happened, to your point. It's just, it's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Too much. And it goes back to as well, like when we're talking about a game or recapping it, we shouldn't be talking about the refs, let alone know their names. Like I shouldn't know who Scott Foster is. We've talked about him before. I shouldn't know Tony Brothers by name. I shouldn't know Ed Malloy by name. Like I shouldn't know any of their names. They should just be anonymous with the game and do their job. But also the NBA has a lot of like flopping and acting problem too. So that's not helping the situation, I guess, either. But it is frustrating to just like be in the post game and then players and coaches, I don't want to get fined about it, but, and then they say whatever and they end up getting fined.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, to compare it, right? We just talked about the Major League Baseball umpires. Go check that episode out if you haven't already. MLB umps suck, that's plain and simple. So go check that out. We kind of break it down as well. But yeah, I mean, we should know who the players are. Who the player. We should only know who the players are. We shouldn't know who the refs are. It should be more than like anonymous, like you're saying. I shouldn't be able to recognize their faces and all these types of things. Now, to your point, it's a very fast-paced game. There's a lot of stuff going on. Perhaps more eyes would be helpful. But also to your point about the flopping, the players, like I guess they just know that it works, right? And in order to win, you have to do whatever it takes to win. I know the NBA tried cracking down on flopping, but it didn't really seem to help, or they like didn't assess fines as much because people still do it. It may not be as egregious, but people still do it all the time, and it's super annoying. So
yeah, it's frustrating. I wish the players would just play the game, and if a foul happens, a foul happens. But most of them try to do whatever they can to create a foul or create the acting moment to then get a call. Like just play the game, and if a foul happens, it'll happen. But don't force a penalty or a foul to occur in order to get more free throws. Or maybe even instead of shooting free throws at the 5 foul mark in each quarter, push it to 10. Like make them earn their way to the free throws automatically instead of it just unless it's a shooting or in the act of shooting foul. Other than that, push them back to 10 a quarter. Like, we don't need free throws. Like, get rid of the amount of free throws they're going. Now, we've talked about this before too. The Lakers average more free throws than anybody else, but they also don't play the game like other teams. They don't shoot as many threes because they go inside
They're
with
not
AD
good at it.
and LeBron goes to the rack. So when you go to the rack, there's going to be more contact. So there's going to be more fouls and more free throws. I get that concept. But the rest of it is all the flopping and the falling down of the 3-point line. And Harden's famous for falling down because somebody hit him or touched him. It's like, dude, just shoot the ball. And if it goes in, it goes in. If it doesn't, let's keep playing. Like, keep the game moving.
Yeah, there's an example that I actually saw yesterday. I try not to watch any of the games because I don't like the team and it just angers me. But I was at the gym and it was on the Celtics Cavs game from yesterday. There was a play towards the end of the game, very tight. It was definitely would have been in the last 2-minute report. That's for damn sure. Because I believe it was about a minute or a minute 10 left on the clock. The Celtics are up, I think 5 when they have the ball. They're coming down to their own possession. Jaylen Brown kind of shoots across the middle, stops at the free throw line and does like a little jump shot. Darius Garland is attempting to guard him, but as soon as he sees him kind of go in the air, he puts his hands down and literally walks away. Jaylen Brown kicks his leg out so far it hits Darius Garland. He's almost sideways. That's how far he has to kick his leg out. He hits the ground and they call a foul. And everyone is like, "Wait, what the heck?" Luckily, I forgot his name now. Luckily, he challenged the coach challenged the play, and you could completely see his leg is kicking out as far as he possibly can. He's basically kicking, Garland,
Yeah.
and luckily they overturned it. So it's happening even when, and they're calling it. It takes challenges to overturn that big of a flop. That's ridiculous. It's honestly starting to creep up on like FIFA flopping. I can't.
Right.
That's one of the main reasons why I can't stand men's soccer, even more than women's, because every single time they touch another player, I'm surprised they're not all the way on the side of the field by the time how they fall so far. It's insane. It's so frustrating to watch, and the NBA is kind of getting there.
Yeah, and it's weird too because soccer and NBA or basketball are the two global sports, and those seem to have the most flopping and acting. But yeah, soccer, a guy gets kind of hit in the ankle, he falls down, he grabs his ankle and writhes around in pain as if he's like gonna lose a foot, and then as soon as he call anything, the guy gets up and like
he kicks the ball like everything's fine.
Yeah, I'm totally fine, and runs and plays another 35 minutes. So like,
it's so annoying, dude.
So frustrating. I'm with you on that. But yeah, we got to get this away from the NBA. I don't know how they get out of it or get away with it, but it's just frustrating that we shouldn't be talking about the refs and the calls at the end of the night.
No. Before we move on to the next update in the NBA, we do have a clip, though. Speaking of people talking about calls, there was a clip from a conversation that JJ Redick was having with LeBron James. I know they have their little podcast. I don't know if this was on a podcast per se, but I know that they were speaking about this. And we'll just run the clip right now, but it's kind of funny because LeBron is sitting here complaining about calls, but JJ quickly puts him in his place. Check this out.
Because if you play around with guys like that, they're gonna wear on you. They're gonna keep their body on you. They're gonna make it physical. You know, in the playoffs, you're allowed to be a little bit more physical. Well, as I've seen in all the other series, in our series, it felt like a fucking regular season game. But whatever, that's beside the point.
Says the guy whose team had the greatest free throw disparity in the NBA the last 2 seasons. This fucking guy.
Fuck that.
I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, they do have an insane differential, but it was just kind of funny. He's tried to say like, yeah, man, our series wasn't called like how it's normally called, but JJ had to quickly say something. So that was kind of funny. Even as a Laker fan, that's kind of funny.
Oh, hell yeah. And if as your possible future head coach, you got to be able to poke the bear a little bit too, I guess.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think that's what a lot of people were saying is why JJ might be a good possibility for head coaches, because he's already kind of not giving him shit, but he's willing to push back on LeBron James.
Exactly.
Not just comply. So,
yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about refs. We talked about umpires. We're talking about referees. Let's talk about the actual sport itself, huh? What do you think about that?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Next thing that we're going to talk about is the draft. We just had the draft lottery the other day. We'll cover that, but there's just some new blood coming up. It's not necessarily the draft of last year where everybody knew who was going number 1, and there was actually some pretty good depth throughout it. I wouldn't say it's not deep. It's just there's not a lot of huge names.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest names are people that you wouldn't normally be excited about coming into the NBA, like the Zach Eady's is a big name, or the Kyle Filipowski's, or I guess that maybe it's a white guy thing. I don't know. But either way, not necessarily the biggest names. So is it great that Atlanta got the number one, or did they kind of get it screwed because this year is just a
Yeah.
little meh?
Yeah, if you're Atlanta, you definitely like if you're gonna. I think they moved up like 9 spots.
Yeah, they
Somehow.
were the 10th. They had the 10th worst record, and they got the number one pick. They had a 3% chance of getting the
Yeah,
number one pick.
super lucky, but you would have hoped if you're Atlanta, you were super lucky last year to get Wemby to go along with Trae Young. So that's their thought process at this point. But yeah, I'm with you. There's like a lot of guys from overseas they're talking about being in the top 5 picks. Again, I don't follow them, so I don't know much about them.
Well, the one dude, and he's apparently the number one guy. He's like Wemby 2.0, not his brother, who's also on the way, but he's a 7'1", 19-year-old French guy. That's like literally Wemby, but he's like 7'4", not 7'1". So
Yeah,
maybe the Hawks will get lucky with that one. But yeah, continue. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
no, you're good. But the other thought too is if you're Atlanta, is there somebody that you think could help you win now? Because you're kind of like, we need to win now or start to blow it up and start over, or do you trade that pick to somebody and try to get a player that makes sense to fit next to Trae and possibly Dejounte Murray if they're going to keep him too? Like, there's a lot of question marks in Atlanta, so I don't really know what they're going to do. There's also talk of like, does Houston trade the number 3 pick? Because like they're kind of at this point too, where like this year they
don't need any more young people.
Yeah, they need like some veterans and some stars, and then possibly Memphis trading the number 9 pick. Like, there's 3 teams in the top 10
all ready to move back,
open to talking and trading these picks to get other veteran like ready now pieces to go along. Because Ja comes back next year with Memphis too. They still have Jaren Jackson Jr. Like, they still have some good pieces there. So there's a lot of things that could happen between now and I think was it June 26th? I think is the draft.
Yes. If I'm the Hawks, I'm only going to talk about the Hawks because as we get closer to the draft, we'll probably do like a pre-draft thing and a post-draft thing. We'll probably give like maybe just the lottery picks of who we think might do the top 14 or something like that. We'll figure that out. But at least I want to talk about Atlanta. If I was Atlanta, I am shopping DeJounte Murray because I think he, in my opinion, is a little bit better player, or shopping Trae Young and keeping DeJounte, speaking of. And I'm picking the 7'1" French dude. I need to get on board with what everyone is doing. Think of who were some of the best rookies this year. Chet Holmgren, Victor Wembanyama. What do they have in common? They're both tall, they're skinny, and they can play damn near every position. Well, that's kind of what this new 7'1" person, I forgot his name. Let me just go look it up. What this guy's name is. But that's kind of what the league is turning to. Tall, like Kevin Durant's, right? But like now they're even taller. So if I'm Atlanta, I'm just taking it. And if it doesn't pan out, great. But if you trade that and he's the next, okay, maybe not Victor because there's a lot of hype, but he's close to Wembanyama, well, then you just fucked up. So take the chance. That's my opinion.
Atlanta's done enough fucking up with this building of roster, so maybe don't do that again.
Kind of exactly the point. 100%. So I'm trying to think. I want to find this guy's name, so I'll figure it out. But yeah, so a couple other things that we're talking about in the draft is what is that called? Draft combine that recently took place, where Bronny kind of was doing some work. He's been, I think, medically cleared to play, so that's good. The NBA, at least teams will know that there's nothing extreme to worry about, at least right now. But he was actually doing really well too. Did you catch any of the at least highlights or hear some of the statistics and stuff that he was going through?
Yeah, I saw that he had, I think, a vert of over 40 inches, which is pretty good. I guess he was like 4th highest in the whole thing that they had going, which is pretty good considering he's only 6'1". And then there's talk of he had all his threes that he made in a little like run around and catch and shoot thing that they have each player do. I know they had like a 5-on-5 scrimmage. I don't know if that was today or yesterday, but he had a couple assists, couple points, like nothing that was earth shattering or anything. But also there's been talk of, because he was coming back this year from what he went through before, that he didn't play as much as he probably could have typically, maybe played him out of position in USC compared to what he could be. And his defensive side is a little bit better than his offensive game, which in today's age, that's a good thing. Because if you can shoot and you can play a little D, then you're going to be okay.
You got a job for life. Yep.
It's just a matter of like, do people think he's good enough to take a 1st-round pick on him, or is he going to be one of those like 2nd-round flyers where someone's like, we'll take a shot because if he doesn't make it, it's not wasting a roster spot? That's kind of like the biggest question mark, I guess.
I think it truly depends on how people, what teams think about. Are they willing to take a chance in drafting Bronny to try to lure LeBron Is that chance? Is that like chance of happening? Is that big enough for you to make it? But in my opinion, I think he'd be best served going on the second, and then doing like what a Hood Shafino did. I don't know why the fuck we picked Jalen Hood Shafino, by the way, bro. Unless he fucking pans out to be something awesome, which so far looks like he's not. What a fucking wasted pick at 17. And here we are back at 17 again this year. Let's hope we
Well,
don't blow this shit again. So
we technically haven't been told officially they're going to be 17.
whether or not the
New Orleans
Pelicans
has
want.
until June 1st to decide if they want this year's pick or next year's pick. And
Well, if I'm fucking New Orleans, I ain't taking this year's pick.
yeah, I was gonna say if I'm New Orleans, I think I'm waiting because one, the draft's not that stocked, and 17 is
No.
not going to be very high. And two, if you're like most people in the league, they probably think the Lakers are going to take a step back even further next year, and then the pick could be better.
Higher
But
pick?
I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it'll be similar, if not higher, hopefully. But
Yeah,
I don't know. New Orleans also is possibly going to trade Brandon Ingram, so there's a lot going down in NOLA right now.
Let's take him. I'll take him. Let's take him. Bring him back. I'll take it. I'll take Belo. That's almost what I called him. Belo. I'll take Brandon Ingram. One thing I saw real quick to touch back on Bronny before we move on. Was I had saw that he was quoted saying he sees himself as a Drew Holiday, Derek White, who's the other guy? Davion Mitchell style player in the NBA. That's the role he feels he will play.
Hey, if I know everyone's freaking out with the Lakers and LeBron, are they doing too much by possibly drafting? Like, if you take Bronny at number 55, like, who cares? That's
Who the fuck cares? That's not a stretch.
last pick. Like, it's not a big deal if he doesn't make the roster and you're not paying him very
100%.
much if he does. And like somebody, I think it was ESPN 710, they were making a joke like, well, LeBron's gonna get an extension. They're gonna hire JJ Redick, his podcast buddy, to be the coach, and then his son's gonna be on the bench with him. Whatever. It's not like they're gonna get. That doesn't make them worse.
What are we doing if not that?
Yeah, exactly. He's gonna leave, and then you can't replace him because you can't just sign people who are already over the cap. So like, whatever. Take the best. If LeBron wants to spend the last 2 or 3 years in the Laker uniform, then just let him do it. We did it for Kobe, but Kobe was not himself from playing as well as LeBron is at this age. So if LeBron wants to stay here and still play and get paid, pay him and let's see what happens. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
We don't owe LeBron as much as we owed Kobe, but I see the sentiment of what you're saying. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's pretty much the last
plus, and Kobe was averaging like 15, if not less, at that point.
Right. Yeah. Hey, he went for 60 his last game. You watch your mouth.
Doesn't mean his average went over 20 for the season.
Hey, rest in peace. Don't you dare talk about being that way. Stop it.
Stating fact.
But yeah, no, I mean, it'd be super cool. I actually saw one thing before we take it off the subject here. The last one is Lakers are looking to have Coach K help them with their coaching search. I kind of like that. Unless he wants to come out of retirement, shit, I'll take him maybe.
No, I don't think that's gonna happen. He's already over 70 at this point. If I'm him, but consulting, yeah, like obviously LeBron played for him in Team USA, so he has an idea of what LeBron would like or not like, as who they're gonna hire to be a coach.
And he knows how to build a culture. He did it at Duke.
Yes, absolutely. Before there was a Duke and anybody even knew who they were.
True. He was Duke. Yeah, that's a great point. That's a very good
which
point. Yeah.
also makes you think maybe JJ Redick has an inside track because he played for.
Shit! I didn't even think about that either. Damn it, you're right. That's a good point. I didn't think about that. Again, I'm not anti JJ Redick. I just don't know if he's a great first-time head coach for all of this shit.
Yeah, true. But maybe
There's
also, he's only been out of the league and retired for what, like 2 or 3 years. So maybe I think he's only like 6 months older than LeBron too, if you look at their birth dates. Like maybe it's worth it. Like he obviously, like you talked about in the podcast, he can kind of poke and go back and forth with LeBron. I think LeBron would have a little more like, okay, I know I can believe him because like they're breaking down film in their podcast and they're talking about it like super basketball nerds. So obviously they have the same level or IQ of the game and how it should be played. That's a huge factor because from what we've seen clips of Darvin Ham with the clipboard and like not knowing what to draw where. So that's an improvement, right?
Bro, there's a freaking meme of like basically Darvin Ham, right? Well, there's two that I know of, and they're both along the same lines. It has like a quote like, "Oh, other teams going on a run," has a picture of Darvin Ham, and it's I forgot his name, but he's like, "Huh? Me? Nothing. Just hanging around."
The Kevin James one, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, the one where his hands are in his pocket, like no, the black guy with the glasses, the like kind of he's me? What you doing? Me? Nothing. No, just hanging around. That's him. Or like the Arthur of his hands in his pockets, or Kevin James. Just doing nothing. So yeah, I guess anything could be better than that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's an improvement.
Well, one thing that I don't feel is an improvement, unless you're talking about the pocketbooks of NBA executives, is the change here that we're going to be kind of coming up on next year with a lot of this new NBA TV/streaming contracts that are kind of coming up here.
Yeah.
Basically, the NBA is looking to add a third partner. ESPN and TNT are currently the only ones here. So there's been like this crazy all-out bidding war, basically, between TNT, who's currently there, owned by Warner Brothers Discovery. NBC is new to the platform. ESPN, obviously, coming back. And now Amazon be trying to get a piece, too. And it's just looking like the big guns are coming out to play. They're starting to throw a lot of money at the NBA for these TV rights deals. It's crazy.
It's crazy amount of money, but like we talked about earlier with the global thing, basketball and soccer are the two sports that are played everywhere across the world. So if you have fans, and obviously players from all over the world come to play in the NBA, it's the best league. So you have people from other countries that don't watch. So going on streaming gives more opportunity for fans to watch from anywhere else except for the United States being on just ESPN and ABC or TNT and TBS. So it gives them more of a broader spectrum of fans to watch and makes more money, which is why these contracts are out of control. Amazon, I think I heard, I can't remember if it was 275 million people have Amazon Prime or some crazy.
It's 200 million. Like, what's the word? Not concurrent, but like active like viewers, like people that they because like I have an Amazon Prime membership, but I don't really watch Prime Video that much, so I don't know if like I would count. Apparently, there's 200 million like actively using it. Yeah.
Okay, so then so that gives them a much wider spectrum of fans and people all over the place to watch. So I get it from the NBA perspective, and the money's getting out of control as far as the TV deals. I just hope it trickles down to the other employees that work at the stadiums. But that's just like it is what it is. Like, I know. Trust me, I work in the stadium myself there. Not that I even work for an NBA team, but still, myself and the TV broadcast deals are getting out of control, and the money is just blowing up. But at the end of the day, the more money the TV deals go into the league, the more the players get as well, because they all split that in the Players Association profits. So like it's a win-win as far as the league and the players are concerned. It's just a lot of money, and for the older fans that aren't as up to date on like the streaming apps and services, that'll be something they'll have to kind of figure out, especially not having it on TNT anymore if they ultimately lose out, which it sounds like they will, to NBC. Like that means no more Ernie and Chuck and Shaq and Kenny. Like that's gonna be weird.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm most annoyed about. It's like kind of sad to see the TNT thing go, because it means inside the NBA, as we know it, at least they might have their own version of inside the NBA, but it's not going to be the same as the four guys, right? Chuck, Kenny, Charles, and that is Chuck, Shaq, Kenny, Charles, and what's the guy's name?
Ernie.
The white guy, Ernie. Thank you, I couldn't remember it. There's just something about that quattro is a nice touch, but the deals, like you mentioned, are starting to just get insane. Like you said, it's hard for the NBA to really turn this money down. The deals that had just really expired with ESPN and TNT were upwards about $930 million a year is what those networks were paying to the NBA to broadcast their games. Amazon just came in with a $2.6 billion annual fee that they're going to pay. So, and I think ESPN is at 1.8 right now, 1.8 billion. Man, it looks like NBC is going to be outbidding TNT. It's just not good. So it's not good for viewers, at least, especially people who really enjoyed Inside the NBA. I didn't even, to be honest with you, there were nights, bro, where I would like maybe miss the game, not on purpose. No, I would just turn TNT back on to just like hear some shit. You know what I mean? All their cool little segments and all that kind of stuff, man. It sucks that that's kind of gone, man. It's like history. Now I feel like I really need to watch the rest of this year, you know?
Yeah, and it's so abrupt because it's like going to end at the end of the season, and then TNT's gone. Like, and we found out it's probably officially going to be done with, and then we only have like a month left with them because they don't cover the finals. So you got the rest of this round. The Eastern Conference Finals, I believe, is on TNT, or I don't know who has East and West, but regardless, you have one conference finals, and then boom, we're done. It's just we move on to the next. And I mean, one cool thing is NBC. We get the NBA and NBC music back. That'll be cool.
Woo. But there's a couple quotes throughout the article that kind of help this make sense and really contextualize what the NBA is trying to do on a handful of platforms, I guess you could say. And by platforms, I don't mean literal platforms, but I mean like on different areas that they're trying to address. There's a quote here from John. I'm going to mess up this last name, but I'm going to say it anyways. Gigengak, who's the founder of The Hub, which is an entertainment research company. He was quote, sports are in such high demand because they deliver things both streamers and networks need more than ever. For one, they're unique because every platform now has a buzzy, like scripted original, right? They got the Netflix originals and the Hulu originals and the Apple Plus originals and the freaking Paramount originals and the Peacock. Everybody's got their own originals, right? But there's only one NBA. There's only one NFL. There's only one Premier League, right? There's only one of these things. So they're extremely important. The sports are in general because live TV is a thing of the past. And every platform has so many of their own freaking, like he said, buzzy scripted originals that if somebody's looking for anything real, sports is all that's left.
Yeah, no, that's literally the only thing I think I watch on live TV is sports events.
Same.
Other than that, like you said, even if there's like Abbott Elementary, I'm a big fan of. Once the show's on Wednesdays or whatever, it just goes to Hulu and you can watch it in the library later. You don't need to watch it at 8 o'clock on Wednesdays and then, I missed it. You can't see. You can just watch it whenever the hell you want. Once it's on the air, it'll be in the catalog. But with a live sporting event, like I don't go back and watch a game recorded from earlier. Like I want to watch it live in the moment. That's why I have 2 TVs in my wall in my room for a reason. Like I want to watch multiple games at once.
Yeah, well, you're not alone in this either. The same company that guy owns, a recent sports survey said that 79% of fans said they care more about their favorite sport than other things on television. So,
Thanks.
and 81% said they would sign up for a new subscription if they needed to watch their favorite sport that they follow. So, first of all, screw those 81% of people. Y'all couldn't have just said no. That way we didn't have to freaking pay for a new one. Don't be so damn honest next time. Now we're all screwed and we got to pay for a new freaking platform. So, yeah, apparently you're not the only one, man. 80% of people who actually watch sports are willing to watch that more than anything.
Yeah, and then we've started to see it too. Some teams with the Bally Sports thing losing in baseball, especially.
Yeah.
Where you can now just pay directly to the team, or the Clippers do it with Clipper Vision. You can just pay to watch their games through like an app of their own. The LA Kings are not even on terrestrial radio anymore. They're only through an app that you pay the Kings specifically to listen to. The Ducks are not on terrestrial radio. They're on their own app through TuneIn, but it's not, you don't have to pay for it. It's free. But again, it's all through apps and other venues that we're not used to, or avenues that we're not used to, and are kind of becoming the norm. And everyone is like the Golden Knights. You can pay, I think they play 82 games in hockey. I think it's like $80 for every home game or every game for the season. So you're basically paying $1 a game to watch it, which seems much easier than paying $100 and whatever for your cable subscription just so you have that channel to watch them.
Sure. In principle, except do you remember when we were fucking kids and you just had everything on television and you didn't have to fucking pay for 90 different subscriptions? Like, to your point, yeah. Oh, like the Diamondbacks, right? My parents live in Arizona, so the Diamondbacks, right? If they ever want to, it's only $100 and you can watch all 162 games. Well, shit, that's less than $1 a game. Except they used to be free.
Yeah.
So, like, in principle, sure, it's not that much when you break it down and and all the extras and blah blah blah. But like, fuck, bro, for the people who've been watching sports like you and I for 30 years, it's going ass backwards. And now we're getting nickeled and dimed. I feel like now, to me, it's still. I wish they would do this more often with whole league stuff, like MLB Sunday or like NFL Sunday Ticket. Can I just watch the one team that I want to watch instead of having to pay $700 for all of it? Like, I can get on board with those individual ones more so than the only way to watch it is you have to have Amazon Prime. Like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
So on the individual ones, I'm a little bit more, except like Lakers and Dodgers, you can't pay for that. You had to have all a spectrum. So I don't know. It's just, I just feel like they're nickel and diming us to death. It's kind of annoying. Speaking of Amazon, let me just this last little bit of why Amazon is really pushing, because obviously they're not an NBA partner now, but ever since they had Thursday Night Football, they're like, oh, wow, this is kind of maybe an untapped market. Mm-hmm. And it actually goes on. Ken Leon, who's the director of equity research at CFRA Research, which is similar to The Hub, he kind of goes on and says that partnering with the NBA is just another way that Amazon is signaling it's serious about live sports. He says, quote, if they're going to deepen their relationship with Prime subscribers like myself, it's a no-brainer for them. However, this could be a loss leader for Amazon. And for those of you not in the business world, what that means is it's either an item or a service that someone or something offers that does not make them money, but it attracts people to them, right? So They may not be making a ton of money since they're giving the NBA $2.6 billion, but it gets more people over to Amazon. And then that gets them onto the Amazon Prime. And then they start ordering stuff on Amazon. And then maybe they start watching Thursday Night Football on Amazon. So it's just like a trickle down effect. So according to them, it may be a loss leader to get these audiences to continue to be on their platforms more often, which allows them to ultimately convert more customers for all the other things that they can do with Amazon Prime. The partnership could work both ways, as Amazon could help the NBA achieve its global aspirations, as well as offer new revenue opportunities.
Yeah.
So it makes sense business wise. It's just
Yes.
frustrating.
Yeah, again, I completely agree. Business side of it, totally understand it. From our fans' perspective, fucking hate it because tired of paying everybody everything I have to watch every single game. But not only can Amazon, like you said, lead them to other things within their app or their site, or but like if you're Amazon, when you're broadcasting the game, you can put QR codes on the screen that are like, hey, come check out this item that's on sale today for whatever, or like you're gonna get like interactive ways to like get people to draw into it, like. Even if they're not a typical Amazon shopper, but they get Amazon Prime to get the video thing, while you're doing Thursday Night Football, you can just have in the bottom on the, or like your own ticker of, in a sense, of Amazon with like items on sale, or we have a sale this week of this item, and here scan QR code to get more information, or blah blah blah. Like they basically can do whatever they want on their platform to draw them in other ways beyond just the live sports. And I mean, all that stuff works. Otherwise, marketing and PR wouldn't be a thing, right? Like it does work.
And honestly, those are kind of cool things to add to it. So I don't want to just shit on the idea. I hate the idea from a money standpoint and a loss of inside the NBA standpoint, not from all the cool possibilities that could bring. Because the other thing that Amazon does is they're very famous for, we see commercials for it, is AWS, Amazon Warehouse Services. So they have all that AI doing all of this breakdown. You could have, like on Thursday Night Football when he throws, I think you could have all the stats. Well, in the NBA, you could have as soon as he takes a shot from, as soon as Steph shoots a shot from half court, you can see, well, if Steph shoots the shot with this amount and this goes in this percentage of the time. So you can add like cool little fun things like that too. So I'm not saying it's all bad. It's just annoying from a money perspective and losing inside the NBA perspective. That's pretty much where I'm at on that.
Completely agree. And I'm like, with the inside the NBA thing too, like Shaq's always talked about, I mean, Charles always talked about, he doesn't want to work with ABC or ESPN because he doesn't want to play by their rules. Because with TNT, they kind of let them do whatever they want. They talk about whatever. They don't go to commercial break like exactly when they're supposed to. If they're in the middle of a combo or a topic, they just kind of let them roll, and then they just push the commercial break
which
back.
Makes it great.
Exactly. It makes it more authentic and just them. But most other platforms don't allow analysts to do it, which is why the basketball stuff on ESPN halftime and intermissions, like, hey, this is lame. Like, I don't even want to watch it. I'll just come back when the game comes back up. So,
yeah.
And the other thing too that ESPN needs to do, I know they do it with hockey, or maybe it's TNT, but I think they both do. When they're at intermission, when they're doing an intermission report, they have the timer on the screen somewhere to let you know how much time is left in intermission. Why are we not doing that for halftime for NBA? Why do I have to sit there and watch these idiots that I don't care about talk about the game, and I have to keep coming back every 5 minutes waiting for it? Like, give me a clicker, like whatever the clock in the arena is on.
It has it on it has it there.
Put it on the screen just like they do for hockey. I don't understand why that is so hard to do, but also their halftime stuff is boring and I don't want to watch it anyway. But if you're going to force me to have it on the screen, at least let me know how much longer I got to watch it until it's over.
Hey, ESPN, call Corey. He's got great ideas for your broadcast because yours sucks so far.
Their hockey coverage is great, though. They're doing a great job with the hockey coverage since they take over.
That's good. That's good. You know what? Honestly, a lot more people be getting into hockey. Even obviously the TNT people be getting into hockey a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's nice having two major networks cover the sport instead of before where NBC Sports and they were on like all these Golf Channel during the playoffs because they didn't have any other sports channels and you can't find it. Like ESPN, ESPN2, TNT, TBS, cool. I can find it. I know exactly where I need to go. Their coverage has been great. So keep it up.
Not anymore. Now you got to figure out, you got to open all your apps, the Amazon app and the NBC app and the ESPN app, and then you can figure out what you want to watch.
Too many apps.
All right. Well, that one wraps it up. That we just wanted to kind of touch on a couple of news and notes of the NBA. Let us know below in the comment section. We got a couple things we want to know from you. All right. Are the refs messing up your playoff enjoyment like they seem to be messing up for the players? Should the Lakers draft Bronny, especially after a pretty good combine showing? Are you going to miss Inside the NBA because it looks like it might be the last of it? Do you think TNT should have fought a little bit harder? Let us know in the comments down below. We obviously gave you our opinion. We'd love to hear yours. Appreciate everybody stopping by. Thank you as always for seeing things from our view from the bench. I'm Brendan.
And I'm Corey. Like we always say, enjoy the sports until we talk again.
Peace.
This was a Sycamore Fourth Studios production.